welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this Game 2 MLB World Series Showdown slate on Draftkings in Fanduel. Excited to get into it. Great Game 1 and great results with our home run call of the day in Adam Duvall. We talked about Jorge Soler in that match, liking him. He went deep first at-bat of the game. Excited to get back into it in this one. Quick reminder that if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll be here throughout the entire World Series, giving you guys the picks to get you in that green. And I also do cover other sports in NBA and NFL, so check that out if you play those other sports, you're interested in that. I do offer an MLB premium package. I know MLB season's wrapping up here, but also NBA and NFL. I offer an all sports package as well with premium content of all sorts of different data that you can use to help you win in DFS. Check that out. This link below in the description. I think you're going to get your value back very quickly over there as well. You get direct access to me in the Discord, a bunch of other fun stuff. Go ahead and click the link. You'll get all the details of what's included in the packages. Don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. So, as always, I know it's only a one game, but we're going to go through the KJK DFS process here. If you're new to the channel, we like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts, and the top guy on the slate today is going to be a 23.7% K overall in Max Fried. Comes in with an 11.1 swing strike rate. Great ground ball, fly ball stuff. Hard contact stuff's very good with a 334 slugging given up to righties and a 409 slugging given up to lefties. So if anything, he struggled a little bit more against lefties, but let's be honest, been pretty good against both sides, and his whole thing is he keeps the ball on the ground. He does a great job keeping the ball on the ground, whereas his opposing pitcher in Jose Urquidy, on the other hand, doesn't do such a good job with a 32.2% ground ball rate overall, only a 21.3% K rate for him, a 455 slugging given up to righties, and a 339 slugging given up to lefties. And like I said, a lot of ground ball, fly ball opportunities to be had when targeting Urquidy, so that's something I'll talk about right off the bat. I like to target guys that are giving up fly balls, a lot of slugging, and we have that in both when we're looking at Urquidy's splits against right-handed hitting. So something tells me when we get into this breakdown, I have a lot of interest in the Atlanta Braves righties for a good reason. And we're going to dig into some pitch data, explain why. Now, something else to note, went over this in Game 1. This game is being played in Houston, okay? So something to note, that short left field porch in Minute Maid Park is something we want to target. We talked about it with Adam Duvall, our home run call today. What did he do? Went deep over the left field porch. We talked about it with Jorge Soler. What did he do? Went deep over the left field porch. So this is what I'm talking about, people. This is what we want to target, that left field. And as far as our game theory, we have no issues with playing guys that are low in the lineup, especially if they're going to be lower owned. Sometimes it comes down to pricing, like last night. Guys like, I'm trying to think of an example, like Michael Brantley was very high owned on Draftkings because of his price tag. So, you know, so that's going to happen sometimes. I know he was at the top of the order. That's probably a bad example. Someone else, so like Jock Peterson down at the bottom of the order was more so popular, Eddie Rosario, that kind of thing. So sometimes overpaying on a showdown slate for a guy that's lower in the lineup could be a good strategy as well here. And lastly, I also want to mention that you can play guys out of the bullpen on these showdown slates. I saw a few people do it last night. Didn't quite pay off. Honestly, last night with the pitching matchup, I had a lot more interest in bats than I did with bullpen arms. And I think that might be the case again tonight, to be honest with you, because I just think the upside of the bats are pretty significant with these particular pitchers being out there on the bump. So we'll have to decide that when we get to our lineup build. But anyways, bullpen data. As far as these two teams grade out here, I have this sorted by hard hit, worst to best. Hard hit being worst at the top. Atlanta Braves bullpen is not nearly as good as the Houston Astros bullpen, so I just want to bring that to your attention as well, because while Max Fried might be a little bit of a better starting pitcher here, once we get to the Atlanta bullpen, it's not going to quite look quite as good as the Houston bullpen, where they're all the way down here, one of the best bullpens in the league. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the best as far as hard hit percentage, and just good stuff across the board as far as the Houston Astros bullpen. So as far as the bullpen advantage, keep that in mind too, that Astros team is going to get to go against that bullpen. And then as far as the strikeout rates on both of these teams, the team hitting data, we talked about it in Game 1, but these Houston Astros just really don't strike out a lot. Looking at their K percentage against lefties, best in the league this year with an 18.3% K rate overall, very, very effective. And then when we go over to the Atlanta Braves and their K percentage against righties, taking on Urquidy, we can see that they are kind of more so towards the bottom in K rate. They do have their fair share of strikeouts, but it's not as if Urquidy is exactly a overpowering strikeout pitcher. So even with that being said, I think my interest in him is going to be somewhat limited here. So now, breaking down the top guys on each side. So Max Fried taking on the Houston Astros here. As far as what he likes to go to in his repertoire for his pitching, we talked about him being a very good ground ball guy. He's really a fastball, slider, curveball combination guy for the most part. He'll mix in the sinker as well. It's kind of a fastball sinker, and let's be honest, when it's a lefty out there, they kind of have that two-seam action anyway, running away from hitters, running away from right-hand hitters, running into left-hand hitters. So Max Fried, you know, that natural lefty sinking action. So as far as the fastball is concerned, you're looking at about a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball. On average, you can crank that up 94, 95, but right around 93, 94 on average, I'd say. And as far as who fares well against that off left-handed pitching, on the Astros side, we're looking to Jose Altuve. Yordan Alvarez actually hits that pretty well, lefty-lefty. And then Martin Maldonado at the bottom of the lineup is a surprising candidate there. So Jose Altuve, he's been struggling as of late, really hasn't been able to get it going. This could be a matchup where he finally does against that fastball. Lefty Jose Altuve does hit left-handed pitching very well. So no issues with playing him at the top of the lineup. Of course, if he's able to get on base, he always has a lot of stolen base upside as well. So Jose Altuve will be a guy that I'm certainly interested in here. Yordan Alvarez, like we said, lefty on lefty against that fastball, can definitely rake it. And he might get some lower ownership than he should, based on the fact that he's taking on a lefty. I'm not sure on that. I mean, it's a showdown slate. It's only one game, and I think guys just like to play guys at the top of the lineup that have the most power too. So, I mean, are we really going to get a discount on Yordan Alvarez as far as ownership? Maybe not. One thing to note is the Vegas lines. Just want to bring that up real quick if I missed that. 4.34 implied total for the Houston Astros and a 4.16 implied total for the Atlanta Braves. So Astros are expected to score one more run here, essentially, if you want to grade it out in stacking up these teams. So that's something to take note of. And then, like we said, Martin Maldonado at the bottom of the lineup actually has a little bit of pop against this, and that might be a perfect play for me because, like I said, people aren't going to really want to play guys at the bottom. People don't like playing catchers either if they don't have to. And Martin Maldonado is priced at 6K. So let's go ahead and see some guys that are priced around him here. Let's see, Maldonado, 6K. Well, he's all the way down at the bottom. So Chas McCormick at 6'9" will probably be the guy that people will go to instead of him if he's able to crack the lineup. Now, as far as the anticipated lineup here, there's also a possibility of Jose Suri making that lineup in there as well. So maybe people are more likely to go to him. The only thing that's a little bit disappointing is that both these guys are priced really, really cheap. So we might find some inflated ownership for them just because people want to put them in to fit in some more studs at the top of the lineup. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But I do think Martin Maldonado grades out pretty good here against the fastball. And then as far as the secondary pitches for Max Fried, we talked about it. It's really slider curveball. Now, as far as who does good against that on this Astros team, against the slider, you're looking at Jose Altuve again. Alex Bregman really mashes the slider off left-handed pitching. So that's something to take note of here at 12-3. Really, really good against that slider. So I think Alex Bregman could be a viable option. Yordan Alvarez, lefty on lefty, really rakes that slider as well. And Ulysses Gurriel. So Yordan Alvarez, 2 for 2 so far as the pitching repertoire. And then, like I said, Yuli Gurriel. And lastly, the curveball as far as who rakes off that. Alex Bregman once again and Ulysses Gurriel are my two main candidates there. So the secondary pitches, Ulysses Gurriel, Alex Bregman looking really good, although they aren't really all that great at attacking that fastball. Both those guys could be intriguing options on the Astros side. Now, as far as Urquidy and what he goes to take it on this Atlanta squad, he's really reliant on the fastball changeup combination and slider. So he'll throw the slider mostly against right-handed hitting, the changeup mostly against left-handed hitting, and then he'll go to that fastball. On average, you're looking at about a 92, 93 mile-an-hour fastball. And the entire Braves lineup mashes that pitch against right-handed pitching. So literally every single hitter that's expected to crack this lineup mashes it, except for Travis d'Arnaud in the 9 spot. He doesn't fare too well against it. The top guys against it would be Jorge Soler at the top, Freddie Freeman, Austin Riley, and Adam Duvall from a power aspect. But I got to be honest with you guys, this whole lineup mashes the fastball. So I'm not over-exaggerating when I say that either. I mean, they're all going to be in there. Like I said, the slider against right-handed hitting for Urquidy is what he likes to go to. So Jorge Soler also mashes the slider right off the bat at the top. And like we talked about, Urquidy really struggles against right-handed hitting with a 455 slugging, giving up 308 WOBA. Guess what? Everything matches up for Jorge Soler here. So that's good to know. Really going to like Jorge Soler again in this spot with the fastball slider being thrown against him. Austin Riley also fares really well against that pitch. So those two guys will be my main candidates here to be having a lot of interest in based on how they profile against Mr. Urquidy. Both right-handed hitters, both match the slider and the fastball. Going to be great spots here. It gets to take it on him and target that short left field porch we talked about in Minute Maid Park. So like both those guys. As far as the lefties that match the changeup and the curveball, because that's what they're going to be seeing the most. The changeup, there's not really anyone in the lineup that fares too well against it, to be honest, that hits from the left-handed side of the plate. And then as far as the curveball is concerned, Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson, Freddie Freeman all rake that pitch. Freddie Freeman specifically really rakes that pitch with a 388 ISO. So against the right-handed hitter that throws the curveball, Freddie Freeman could definitely take advantage and launch one out of the stadium tonight against that curveball in particular. So with all that being said, a quick little breakdown there for you guys. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a lineup build. Now, last night, I didn't have any interest in playing either starting pitcher, to be honest with you. Tonight, you could make a case for Max Fried, but even that, I'm not too excited about playing him just because, like, I don't think the strikeout upside is going to be there. I mean, he could go deep into this game and put up a decent score here, but I just still think the hitters could probably overdo it, like as far as his upside is concerned here. And bullpen arms is another story that we could talk about real quick. All right, so this is another option you can be looking to for bullpens. When guys are going to get called on out of the bullpen, they can put them in your DraftKings lineup. It's a little bit of a guessing game at times, to be honest with you. So you're going to have to be careful of who you're looking to and track who pitched in Game 1. Sorry, off the top of my head right now, it's not coming back to me. But if they pitched in Game 1, there's a possibility they're not going to be there in Game 2. That's a possibility. I know Ryan Stanek off the top of my head pitched for the Houston Astros, so like that's a good example. Maybe he's not in. But let's just go ahead and say we're going to play Christian Javier on DraftKings. Now keep in mind, this is only an option on DraftKings as well. You can't play pitching on Fanduel, which we'll get into the second half. You have to remove non-probables and type in Javier. Okay, so Christian Javier is 15.6. So you add a bullpen, he's an absolute no for me. He's priced up in this. So you're looking for guys that are cheap. So let's go with Kendall Graveman as an example instead. See where he's priced. Okay, so Kendall Graveman's $6K. So he's the minimum salary. There's a chance he can get him out of the bullpen in this game. And I don't think he pitched the last game. If this actually, this might be helpful if the DraftKings game logs actually update based on playoff appearances here, and they do. Okay, so great. Ryan Stanek, he's populating here last shown. So Graveman is a great opportunity, a great example. Maybe he gets in this game here and he's able to go out there, throw it in and get like 3 strikeouts, and he's only $6K, he's minimum salary. So you're probably going to have a very low ownership because people don't play bullpen arms because they don't really think that advanced. And then you can load up on your bats as well. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about with this showdown slate. That's an opportunity that you could be looking at. Just go to the depth charts of both these teams, find the bullpen arms, and rotate them through your lineups. That's if you're playing multiple lineups. Even if you're playing one lineup, you could throw a bullpen arm in there, but you're guessing. So, like, good luck. You're more likely to hit on one of them if you're able to rotate them all through your lineups. But anyways, let's do a build here. We're going to do a build and talk about some of the guys we liked. I mean, on the Brave side, I definitely like these right-handed bats against Urquidy. Everything matches up. The short left field porch, he gets a 50% fly ball rate compared to only a 26.5% to Fried in the postseason. That's going to be, you know, somewhat unheard of in some of these matchups, so I love it. And, yeah, so captain, let's go to the guy we said profiles really well overall in Austin Riley against him. Put him in our captain spot. We talked about Jorge Soler as well. Going to have to put him in there. As far as the rest of this lineup, you could even probably stack this team up, man. Like, this just seems like a good opportunity. So I have Soler, I have Riley. On the Houston Astros side, we talked about liking Bregman and Gurriel against the secondary pitches that Fried has to go to. So let's go ahead and put them in there. Say that they're able to jump on the slider curveball combination there for Mr. Fried that we talked about. And as far as anyone else, that leaves us with 7-2, so we can fill out our lineups from there. Adam Duvall, a righty that matches fastballs, and then we can fill out whoever else we want. We can put in Darno, Jock Peterson, Rosario to round up this lineup. So fairly simple build over here on Draftkings. It's just a matter of, rotating through your captain, figuring out the best captain, and of course having the guy that scores the most amount of points on the slate in your captain spot is important. Like I said, I'm not really sure that I'm too high on playing these pitchers. If I had to play one, it's definitely going to be Max Fried. I don't think you could pay me to play Urquidy tonight. I don't think he grades out well against this Atlanta Braves lineup with the fastball, and I think they can jump on him. So the MVP in the star slot here on FanDuel, it's a different format. Once again, you want the guy that scores the most points in the MVP slot. So to stay consistent with our theme, we're going to go with Austin Riley in the MVP slot. He does profile very well. We're going to go with Jorge Soler in and these guys are really cheap over here on FanDuel. This makes no sense. Yeah, at this point, I just think FanDuel's doing it to make everyone have duplicate lineups, not have to pay out as much. But anyways, Austin Riley, Jorge Soler, you could put in, let's see, Jose Altuve at the top of the lineup. We talked about how he matches the fastball. And then Freddie Freeman, that leaves us with 5K. We could put on a d'Arnaud, a Chas McCormick, a Siri, a Maldonado. So there's a lineup you could be playing over here on FanDuel. You can play really whatever you want on FanDuel. It's pretty easy to fit in. That is my overall breakdown of this Game 2 World Series slate. Before I let you guys go, got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Austin Riley taking on Jose Urquidy in Houston here. Urquidy, a guy that struggles against right-handed hitting with reverse splits. He gives up a .455 slugging to righties with a .308 WOBA and a 50.3% fly ball rate. Ball should be able to be hit hard and in the air. And guess what? When you're looking at how Riley fares against his pitch repertoire, doesn't get much better. He's really reliant on the fastball slider combination against righties, and when looking at the stats for Riley against those pitches, against the fastball, 92, 93, 94 mile-an-hour fastball, he features a .344 ISO with a .431 WOBA, and then against the slider, not an issue either. A .212 ISO with a .329 WOBA, and lastly, Urquidy will break out the changeup from time to time, only about 10% of the time, but if he does, not an issue because Riley features a .286 ISO with a .354 WOBA against that pitch. Love this spot against Austin Riley, targeting that short left field porch in Houston in Minute Maid Park. Once again, .455 slugging up to righties from Urquidy. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Austin Riley, get him in your lineups, and that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck in this Game 2 tonight, and we will see you in the next one.